Greetings and salutations, my beloved courtiers. Lord Vale here, and I am very happy to be doing these Thanksgiving weekend readings for you. For this one, I get to do an unboxing video because my dear friend in the writing community on Twitter, Lali sent me a copy of her new book, so I can read this for you. I'm quite excited because some of my peers and friends in the writing community have given this book extraordinarily glowing reviews. Halo Scott, author of Edge of the Breach, calls this book spellbinding. Ash Knight, author of Stay, calls the book captivating and smart. I found myself wanting more. And Evan Knapp, founding member of Queer Indie, says the book is unputdownable, a must read. So I must read it. so I'm going to open this up for us and read to you what this book is about. The book is called Decoding of Joe, Hall of Ignorance by Lali A. Love. And I will read to you what the back says. Turn on your inner light and illuminate the world. That's what it says right above here. You can see that. It's a beautiful, beautiful cover. And it says, a mysterious porthole, a sinister plot, a cosmic mission. Would you take a leap of faith? When a demonic parasite turns her classmates into an army of sleepwalkers, 16-year-old Jo must confront her celestial identity and reveal the mystery of existence. With the help of her best friends and a galactic compass, Jo unleashes the cosmic powers of creation to prevent the Lord of Darkness from enslaving all of humanity into obscurity. Will she be able to decode the artificial system in time to save her friends and the sacred light? And then there's a quote. For every dark night, there's a brighter day. Tupac Shakur. Okay, Lali, I'm going to randomly open this, and we're going to do a reading from it. So let's see. This is, it says it's from the Ascending Angel Academy, so I'm assuming that's a series. And it's a really beautiful cover. I mean, take a look at that. It's really eye-catching. I love it. Okay. Okay, so I just randomly opened it to page 105, and this segment is called Daphne. Daphne had been going through an especially destructive phase of body dysmorphia, even without her mother's thinly veiled taunts regarding her weight. She wanted to feel pretty, but her mother had tarnished her body image so much that it was impossible for her to feel good about herself. Daphne thought about what she would wear as she munched half-heartedly on a bag of crisps and looked at the mounds of outfits she had collected. Nothing seemed to look good, and she wanted to look her best when she went to Acacia's birthday party. Booze would always help her forget her unworthiness and provide a temporary escape. After hours of trying on multiple revealing outfits and examining her body on a microscopic level, Daphne finally decided on a simple, backless dress that accentuated her curves with the classic black. Paired with 3-inch heels, she was able to elongate her stumpy legs, and the dress seemed to flatter her shape more. Daphne noticed that she had another hour remaining before she was picked up by Ray and Flynn. She was not certain if Zax and Jo were going to show up, but she was determined to let loose at the party. Daphne needed an escape from her crippling self-esteem issues. She was so used to thinking poorly about herself that she could not imagine anyone finding her attractive. No matter how well she dressed or how good she looked, there would always be something flawed in her eyes. As Flynn drove to Acacia's neighborhood with Ray and Daphne, they understood why Acacia had been so uptight. All the houses in the area were elegant and massive, almost as if the neighbors were competing for the best property on the block. Daphne marveled at all the high-end cars parked in the driveway, Ferraris, Rolls Royces. There weren't many people on the streets. The few they spotted were decked out in expensive high-end brand clothing. All the houses were built tastefully, and none of them resembled each other. The owners had custom-built homes with large swimming pools in the backyard and fences with carefully mowed lawns. Some of the houses even had statues of various animals with fountains at the sides of their gate. Acacia was hosting her party at her own place since her parents frequently traveled out of town. It was going to be known as the Party of the Year. The entire football team would be there, as well as the cheerleading squad. Flynn, Ray, and Daphne were excited that booze would be provided for them. In anticipation for the great time, they decided to take some Molly in the car to prepare for the festivities. When they finally reached Acacia's house, it was already packed with techno music blaring from the backyard. It seemed like the entire school was there. Ray, Flynn, and Daphne made their way to the back of the house to the pool area where people were passing around some weed. Everyone was holding a red Solo cup with beer almost spilling over the brim. A couple of guys in the corner were drinking beer upside down, right out of the keg, while some were playing beer pong. My, I remember those days. Inside the living room had been converted to a makeshift dance floor where girls were grinding on guys. On the couches, some girls were giving their boyfriends lap dances while they high-fived their buddies. Those who wanted to grab a bite to eat made their way to the kitchen where they could find an abundance of pizza with various toppings. Daphne decided to get a little buzz going before she did anything. Otherwise, her mind would make her clumsier. She really needed to get out of her head and not worry so much about whether she would make a fool of herself. "Ray!" she shouted to get their attention as they were busy joking with a couple guys. "Can you get me a shot?" "Sure thing, honey," Ray replied with a wink. Daphne downed 2 shots of tequila and waited a while before heading back inside to shake things up with Flynn and Ray. They both danced with Daphne, but eventually they took off chasing other girls. Daphne continued dancing alone in the middle of the large living room, oblivious to the look she was getting from the guys with girlfriends. She soon realized that her friends ditched her and that Molly had taken full effect. "Whatever," she whispered as she stumbled into the kitchen and began to stuff her face with pizza. The food was making her delirious as she tried to console her insatiable appetite. Daphne had to force herself to stop eating before she made a mess out of the Acacia's kitchen. She got up on shaky legs and made her way back into the family room where everyone was having fun. She wanted to find her friends, but Daphne was too drunk and high on Molly. Her head was spinning and people around her appeared in blurry images. Daphne swayed to the music to dance her worries away. 2 of the football players crept up behind her as she swayed to the rhythmic sounds of reggae. Daphne was surprised when Nolan grabbed her by the waist. She did not mind the attention. She would allow herself to go with the flow this one time. "You look hot tonight, Daphne," Nolan whispered with a sly grin, and Daphne swooned over his dimples. Nolan was such a good-looking guy with deep blue eyes and dark hair. Daphne had a crush on him since grade 9, but her self-confidence had always been lacking. "Thanks," Daphne reacted with a blush and totally missed the signal that Nolan received from his football player buddy Marks. "Here you go, Daphne. I got you another glass of rum and coke," Marks remarked after he spiked her drink. Daphne felt so flattered to have both their attention she couldn't believe her luck. "Oh my gosh, thank you. I've been feeling a bit thirsty," she replied as she gulped down the beverage quickly. Mark and Dolan past each other a smirk before getting her more alcohol. Daphne had never felt so desirable in her life as 2 hot boys paid attention to her. She never suspected that her insecurities would put her in such a vulnerable position where people would take advantage of her. The drugs hit her system very quickly, mixed with copious amounts of alcohol she had consumed. Nolan and Mark led her towards one of the bedrooms in Acacia's house. I'm going to stop there. Leave you hanging a bit. If you want to know what happens next, read The Decoding of Joe by Lali A. Love. Thank you, Lali.